Alrighty, yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. 94 here, back with another reaction video. Today, we're going to react to WWE Extreme Rules 2012 was overpowered. Oh, absolutely. This was a great, one of the best Monday Night Raws after WrestleMania to ever fucking exist, with probably one of the most stacked cards after WrestleMania. Yo, they kept me super interested. They had no choice. You just gave us the match of the century with John Cena and The Rock, and then you had Brock Lesnar come back. Oh, WWE was kind of up around this time, but it's slow. As quick as it was up, it went straight the fuck down. But we'll get there when we get there. Anyway, so without further ado, let's get right into this.
The return of the Beast coincides with a new philosophy: part-timers. WWE figured that it's better to bring back some of the older talent, and at the time, it felt like a big deal seeing the likes of Brock, The Rock, and all these guys. But it's almost clear that WWE's development of new stars was becoming stagnant and stunted. Jack Swagger, Dolph Ziggler, Kofi Kingston, and Cody Rhodes. They were the rising stars at the time, but felt very inferior to—
excuse me, you said Jack Swagger? Jack Swagger. You said Jack Swagger, up and coming.
Boy, it's out the mud. We got Rashad McCown.
Kobe's 81. Kobe's 81.
Get this sorry ass nigga out of here! You stop!
Man, you know what? I'm tired of you. I'm tired of this shit. Stop it. Get some help.
Try! What more do you want from me? Fool this man!
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
You're done. You're washed. It's over.
Try! Try!
the top guys. Some of it's because of their own talent, and some of it was obviously outside of their hands. WrestleMania 28 was a massive success, but it's life. And it's on to the next thing. But one thing was clear, it was that WWE was going all in on these part-timers because they were the real draws. The top draw regardless was John Cena, but seeing an opportunity to bring in Brock Lesnar wasn't one that they were going to shy away from in order to push somebody like Dolph Ziggler. That was WWE's vibe at the time, and it would become more and more apparent as the months went by. But here, it was Extreme Rules. Extreme Rules 2012 wasn't exactly a show that was supposed to over-deliver because of a disappointing WrestleMania, because WrestleMania 28 was anything but disappointing. Exactly. But even then, the wrestlers here were very motivated to deliver. The first match on the show was a Falls Count Anywhere match. Randy Orton faced Kane. This feud was more heated after WrestleMania than before. Kane was in a weird point where the mask was supposed to revitalize him, but obviously those plans weren't going to be seen to their potential. But he did beat Orton at WrestleMania, and I believe he won clean. That match wasn't notable, but this was the definitive match of this feud. Orton brought out a pipe in the beginning, and it was very intense early on. Both fought in the crowd and threw shots and strikes full of venom. Great dropkick near the stage here, and they spent a lot of time on the outside. Then Zack Ryder randomly tried to attack Kane after the incident from 2 months earlier, and this was dirt in my eyes. Can't see the light Zack Ryder, who was 6 feet under and still in the process of being buried. Back of the ring, the action finally involved the ropes. Very bright lights here, although it's probably me accustomed to the backstage lights. Great clothesline from Randy Orton here, and the momentum was shifting. The crowd was really loud and into this. This is prime Chicago. You know, like 2012 WWE, this is prime Chicago. Orton unloaded with his chair full of anger, a big DDT off the announce table, and Kane was still in it. A huge superplex followed, but Kane kicked out. He responded with a chokeslam, and the crowd was going crazy. It's like they were watching a match of the year candidate. And to me, this is a prime example of the crowd elevating a match. Orton avoided a tombstone on the chair and connected with an RKO on the chair. 1, 2, 3. Okay, this was a good match. It was much better than WrestleMania 28. Both guys had so much hatred from the beginning until the very end. And once again, we gotta mention this. Orton was still acting like a crackhead with his movements. You know, he's like, You guys know Orton of 2012. I will say, though, that this probably would have been better if they allowed them to do this on the stand.
This was Orton. This was Randy Orton at his peak, though.
Alone show, because the WWE Championship match and the main event were going to be outshined with the opener. But even then, the crowd was really into it, and so was I. And that elevates the match tremendously to me. You know, it's pretty good. It's a surprise hit, I'd say. Brodus Clay faced Dolph Ziggler. So at the time, Brodus was this demon. He was a monster, right? He's terrifying, he's big, all this stuff. But then his return was dragged only for him to show up as a dancer with Naomi and Cameron. It was so random that it was hilarious. Dolph Ziggler, on the other hand, was just waiting for that big opportunity to move up. It was coming, though. In 2012, proved to be a standout year for him, although it was probably his best year in his entire career. Jack Swagger was dressed like Secret Service, and this Brodus move, thank God we don't see him for the back when he does it. You know, I'm good on that. Ziggler was doing his best to get a cheap win here. Jack Swagger was trying to help on the outside. Ziggler at this impactful famouser, trying his best to take him out, and at this point, Brodus was undefeated. And again, the crowd was really into it, which is unusual for this era of WWE. Brodus was struggling a bit, but his struggles weren't as bad as Ziggler's desperation. He was wearing himself out with this endless focus on Brodus. Great headbutt here. Ziggler sold it like a bazooka was driven into him, and there's the splash. 1, 2, 3. Decent match. It's one that did its job, which was to make Brodus look good. It's not even like a match where it's like, I want to watch it. I mean, who out of their own free will, willingly, specifically, not just a part of the show, wants to watch a Brodus Clay match? If you're a Brodus Clay fan, which I highly doubt, unless you're talking about you in 2012, it's a by the numbers match. With Ziggler, this was becoming his thing, you know, where it's like he has to make the other guy look good as opposed to being the guy himself that looks good. You know, the only times for the most part that Ziggler looks good is when he's doing his entrance, and of course the match performance itself, but other than that, he always gets his ass beat. Okay, Big Show defended the Intercontinental Championship against Cody Rhodes in a tables match. Big Show at the Intercontinental Championship is odd. It doesn't fit him at all, but it did complete his Grand Slam goal. Cody Rhodes, on the other hand, had the best title reign for that belt in years, and he brought more importance and value to the title, and it's respected, I'd say. Even to this day, I think people respect the idea of Cody Rhodes bringing back value to the Intercontinental Championship.
This is when I was super, like, I was pushing for Cody heavy, bro. I wanted Cody to go over so heavy. I was pushing for it. I was like, hey, man, people not paying attention to Cody, man. Y'all not seeing the match quality that he putting on, bro. Like, Cody is up there, bro. He needs to be in the main event picture, bro. He was there. He was there then. But niggas wasn't watching SmackDown like that. I know y'all wasn't watching SmackDown like that. Because if you've been to that, Cody was doing like shit that was worthy of being in the main event scene at the time. But I digress.
Big Show at this insane back body drop on Cody. He almost reached the stack of great performances LeBron had that year. Big Show mauled Cody here. Cody avoided disaster with a disaster kick, but even then, it was proven that it would be almost impossible for Cody Rhodes to send him through the table. Then a TikTok spot happened, and if you're like, why do you call this a TikTok spot? Well, every once in a while on a damn timeline, be it YouTube Shorts, TikTok, or Twitter, I see this moment. Big Show's about to enter the ring, but then Cody drop kicked him, and his foot landed through the table. He's caught in his reactions like his pants fell down, but then again, the Big Show already had that incident multiple years ago. Like, this guy's been through all the WWE humiliation rituals, and I go as far as to say that in terms of humiliation rituals, Big Show's like the final tier guy. He's in the S tier level of wrestlers who took humiliation rituals, because I'm just throwing this joke out there. Turns out he actually did it, and I forgot about it. It's creative and funny because Cody's a heel. He can't win this match, and on top of that, Big Show's reaction itself was hilarious. So there's a new champion. He lashed out, threw Cody through a table before sending him through another one. The fans were booing, and Michael Cole was raging like I've never seen him before. Even back then, Cody was dramatic. But yeah, this is a very short match. I don't really have much to say about it because it lasted for 4 minutes, but that spot was very good. I actually like that one. The most over wrestler in the WWE. It's insane how quick things turn around. All he did was say one word. It's not me turning to philosophy premiere or whatever. It's a cold truth, but sometimes you just work smart rather than hard. Because all he had to do was do the yes thing. Obviously, he put in the performances, but just saying yes all the time took him to the greatest levels he's seen in the WWE at the time. Daniel Bryan belittled Sheamus in the Chicago crowd. Also, time flies. I remember this very well. You know, Daniel Bryan was a pretty random World Heavyweight Champion, but he proved his worth. AJ, who Bryan broke up with, was right there, and at the time she was actually supposed to become crazy and return with a new boyfriend from the mental asylum. It was of course supposed to be Dean Ambrose, but that's a story for another day. Okay, Sheamus defended the World Heavyweight Championship against Daniel Bryan in a 2 out of 3 falls match. This was much needed after WrestleMania. Sheamus had just won the world title again, but as a face. It wasn't such a weird run, but because Sheamus didn't shine as strongly as he did since this run, it feels so weird. Bryan was strongly favored over Sheamus here by the fans, of course, not by WWE, because that would be crazy talk. And they booed the champion a bit. It's a smarky city, but then again, people cheer whoever they want. And ironically, I was a huge Daniel Bryan fanboy during this time. I'm not even talking about Yes Movement era or later Bryan. I'm talking about this version of him who would always mention he's vegan and trying to act all heel. Bryan was very timid here, especially after the drama from WrestleMania. He was schooled early on though. Bryan figured that Sheamus would be a super tough challenge, but also one he couldn't try too hard for his own good, especially because he had something to prove after the 18-second thing. A brutal spine buster from Sheamus here, but it was unable to keep the momentum. The challenger was very driven and dangerous and used his technical skills to good use to humble and frustrate Sheamus. A strong focus on the shoulder from the challenger. Sheamus still pushed through, all red and angry. The match was more back and forth, but leaning towards Bryan. He was the one making the most out of his chances. It was a very hard-hitting affair. Sheamus was insanely aggressive, too aggressive for his own good, which allowed for Daniel Bryan to continue targeting the shoulder. Instead of saying he's got till 5, Bryan got himself disqualified. But he didn't care. It's like, whatever, I'm a heel, I'm gonna do whatever I want to win. He made Sheamus pass out to the yes lock, and it was now 1-1 with Daniel Bryan being in prime position for victory. Doubts were circulating about Sheamus' status, and then from out of nowhere, Sheamus dropped him with a bro kick. He took too long for the cover, and at this point it was clear that the match was reaching its conclusion here. And while Bryan took a beating, it wasn't as bad as Sheamus's. Both guys were missing, making mistakes in their pursuit of gold, but then from out of nowhere, Sheamus made a comeback and hit the bro kick to win the match. A great match, just want to say that now. I love this one. It's hard-hitting, super aggressive, and it had different layers of story. Bryan in the beginning, desperate to not ruin his
This is when WWE was at their highest of highs, but like I said, it goes all downhill after this.
chances like he did previously. Sheamus having to wrestle with what was essentially a broken arm. The ego, the passion, the aggression. It was a full-on fight, and I was all in on it. Also, I forgot this match. It's better than I remember. I remember people talking crazy about this match in a good way, of course. It never connected with me until I watched it again recently, which for this video, and I just have to say, this was one of the best WWE matches of 2012. I don't care if you say I'm overrating it. I loved it. Both guys were a perfect match for each other. Sheamus and Bryan is always a banger, and I'm shocked that they didn't do this for WrestleMania. Okay, Ryback faced Two Talon. This guy was talking with so much confidence, and I thought this guy asked if people liked Matt, and I burst out and like, what the hell? But he said Matt. These guys looked like they found him in the crowd, and Goldberg chants intensified. This guy looked like Ryan Tedder's little brother or something. I don't know. I just want to throw a reference there. And the other guy looked like he would feature in the Wrestling Revolution game. Ryback's arm looked bigger than this guy's, so obviously everything that he took would look like it hurt him badly. And I don't even need to tell you guys the result. It's clear that the Two Talon won, right? But yes, Ryback was still budget Goldberg at that time, and he heard it plenty from the fans. I would say his character wasn't developed fully, but that would be a lie, because Ryback here is the same as the Ryback 5 months later. It's just fans got used to it, and plus his song actually had lyrics to it, and on top of that, he had a quote which was called "Feed Me More," so he still wasn't quite the Ryback people remember yet. CM Punk defends the WWE Championship against Chris Jericho in a street fight. So this feud was pretty good. I think it lived up to its expectations, because
this was a good ass feud. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm not the biggest. I'm not a CM Punk fan in the slightest, but this was a good ass feud right here. They was they was doing cinema right here. Chris Jericho and CM Punk was doing cinema with this feud.
I think people had been fantasy booking this feud for about 2 years since Jericho left WWE in 2010 again. Also, Jericho was such a good heel even in 2012 in the perfect foil to CM Punk. I loved their match at WrestleMania 28. It turned out to be a match that surprised me a lot when watching it again. It felt like a big spectacle, and I thought it was befitting of the WWE Championship even though it didn't main event. Jericho was obsessed with driving Punk to the point of drinking. As you know, CM Punk avoids drinking like Todd Grisham avoids the ladies. He said it himself, not me. And I cannot be the only one in 2012 who thought this jacket was awesome, because it was. Now, of course,
that
this was Punk's hometown of Chicago,
fuck.
so the crowd would strongly be in his favor. CM Punk was enraged and it showed here. Jericho was on some overdrive heel work here, and he was trying so damn much. And the funniest part is that he didn't need to do all of this because they're in Chicago. You know, all he has to do is raise his hand in the air. Punk was getting beaten in front of his family. Jericho almost went after his sister, and this unlocked him. This didn't last long. His desperation meter faded quicker than his push in 2008, and Punk endured punishment here. Jericho wanted emotional damage as well, trying to involve alcohol, and there was a very back and forth battle here. Punk hit a devastating elbow, but it wasn't enough. Even then, Jericho had Punk's number here. Hit the code breaker, but took too long, and while both men were spent, they both knew that they needed more. So there's a lion tamer into the walls of Jericho. Punk pulled out a fire extinguisher out of desperation, and he hit this elbow through the table. Jericho still wasn't down for the count. He found himself in the same move he tapped out to at WrestleMania, but saved himself with a kendo stick. Then a huge code breaker with the chair. Still not enough. He was the one getting emotional now and tried to win it with the GTS, but this cost him and led to a catapult to the exposed turnbuckle and the GTS. 1, 2, 3. This was pretty good. I like the last title match more, but this was good from a conclusion standpoint. It was clear that this was their final match and you felt it. I feel that similar to the opener, they couldn't do everything they wanted, and that's probably because of the main event. But an additional thought I have is that the WWE was PG at the time, and I feel like this feud was bordering towards like a TV-14 non-PG thing, and I think that would have sold this so much better if it ended up involving blood and more violence, because I feel like they could have done a little more there. And for that, I prefer the 2 out of 3 falls match, to be honest. Eve, in spite of Beth Phoenix, didn't clear clear her, but gave the Bellas a surprise opponent for their title match. Nikki Bella defended the Divas Championship against the returning Layla. This was Layla's first match in about a year because she was out with a knee injury. And with the Bellas, they had a very random title reign here that you could easily forget because it happened on Raw, of course, because, well, the title reign didn't last long. Nikki quickly went after the repaired knee. Layla showed some athleticism, but
bro, it's the fucking Bellas, bro. Come on, dog. I'm just saying, it's the fucking Bellas.
Just put the fries in the bag, bro. You washed.
Even then had to deal with the tough odds that the Bellas pose. They switched, but this proved to be a huge mistake as Layla connected with a neck breaker to win the title. Layla was an underrated talent from this time. She's from the Diva Search, so of course it's hard to grow from there. You know, a lot of the women that come into the Diva Search don't exactly have passion, but she did pretty well for herself, and without Michelle, she had her most prolific run, you know? Like, her most famous run is of course Lay Cool, all the flawless, blah blah blah, but I think her most successful run should actually be attested to this Divas title reign as opposed to Lay Cool in some ways. As for the Bellas, they left the WWE the next night. I heard they wanted to go to Hollywood or something. It's like, well, they're twins, but can they act? And I feel like a lot of wrestlers have this like issue where they kind of buy into their own hype as it relates to acting ability, because I see people say this is cinema, this is Oscar level. I'm like, bro, settle down. This is pro wrestling. It's silly stuff. Exactly. We don't really watch it for the acting. Maybe it was a case of that, or maybe they just grew tired with the WWE and wanted to venture elsewhere, but that didn't work and they returned the following year. And the main event, John Cena faced Brock Lesnar in an Extreme Rules match. John Cena was discouraged and left in turmoil after his loss to The Rock. Now he had to deal with Brock Lesnar. Lesnar was basically picking up the pieces and taking what's left of Cena. The build for this match is interesting. It's half pro wrestling, half MMA. On one side, Brock is talking in interviews about stuff full of confidence, and the other, he's whooping Cena's ass. Cena lost to Rock, Tenzai, and was doubting himself to the point that Edge had to wake him up and motivate him because Brock wasn't respecting the locker room or the time-honored traditions of the WWE. You know, he felt in his eyes, it's like, well, the WWE needs legitimacy. I'm not a superstar. I'm an ass kicker or something like that. Brock was the most paid, the most spoiled, and a wrecking ball to that locker room. This was Brock Lesnar's first WWE pay-per-view since WrestleMania 20 in 2004, and he did so much then. You know, he went to UFC, and because of that, everyone in WWE's corporate ladder would line up to suck his dick, or in this case, allow for him to piss on them. John Cena was wearing an old chain of his, which is interesting because to my knowledge, this is a one-off, almost to remind himself of what he was capable of. The big question of this match was simple. Will John Cena rise up to the occasion in light of his devastating loss? Brock Lesnar mauled John Cena so badly here. He quickly busted him open the hard way with so much hatred. And this was so cool because WWE really wanted it to be a unique match, and it was. Brock Lesnar humbled Cena and the match was entirely his way. The fans were really into this and the commentary was stunned. John Cena was really trying here, but he was unable to make a dent in Lesnar's offense. 2 Germans, these strikes, elbows, and sure he tried, but it wasn't enough. And the ref was knocked down. Lesnar really was the wrecking crew he claimed. He almost broke Cena's arm, and Cena didn't have many moments to recover. Something about this clothesline looked brutal. The fact that his legs are trapped with the chain, and of course, Brock being a monster. Cena still had fight, but there was nothing he could do to stop Lesnar. He grabbed the ref like a magnet and threw him in the ring, which is hilarious. He's like, he grabbed him effortlessly as if he's a bag of groceries and just threw him like, Brock. Cena's great equalizer, the chain was not used. Big F5, but the ref was knocked down. John Cone counted the fall, but because it wasn't 3, he took a clothesline. Even then, John Cena still had hope, but that hope was being pulled out of him. He finally did something by dropping Brock on the steps, and it felt like the comeback was initiated, but Brock Lesnar avoided the leg drop. Brock made a huge mistake here, and he was in over his head because at this point, he felt like the match was his. You know, he's like, I don't give a damn. I'm gonna win, but I'm gonna go all out this point. And this spot was funny. The guy was floating and he almost hurt himself. So he tried it again, not realizing Cena had the chain. And when Cena dropped him, it was the loudest reaction on the entire show. A show that has CM Punk in Chicago, by the way. And it proved that Brock was human after all. He was fainted, lost and clueless that he's busted open. AA on the steps. 1, 2, 3. Wow. One of the most distinctive matches in WWE history. John Cena with his back against the wall, having to pull out something like this. Brock Lesnar screwed himself over. At the same time, he was insanely unlucky. Not to admit this. Listen, I don't do star ratings for matches. People take them the wrong way. Whoa, you rated this? Like, who gives a damn? A good match is a good match, but for this, I think this is a 5-star match. It's absolutely perfect with everything. The fighting spirit hero, except this time, he won by a bunch of lucky situations. Like, Cena had great resolve here. He was doing this and that, but It came down to luck. John Cena played the perfect babyface here. It's been years since he looked as heroic and valiant as he did here. Brock was perfect as well. He was a schoolyard bully times 100. And for me to give this match 5 stars, well, look at it. It's so different from every match the WWE had that year. It's so out of the left field for PG era WWE. There was so much venom from Brock Lesnar. This wasn't even a blood feud with that first minute where Brock feasts upon Cena, sells it as such. Then John Cena just has to pick up leftover opportunities to get back into it, including some lucky moments such as the ref getting knocked down or Brock Lesnar just wanting to kill him. Because to him, this match wasn't just a match to win, but to prove that John Cena isn't even close to his level. I really love this match. It reminds me of the Umaga match at the 2007 Royal Rumble, and Cena's babyface qualities shine here tremendously. That passion and resolve was at its peak here, and I can't name many matches where he looked much more heroic than this. Wonderful match. I won't doubt myself in saying that it was WWE's best match that year. You might consider it a hot take, but I don't care. And someone's gonna be like, oh, Brock should have won. Well, he had to know his place again, you know? He's under Vince McMahon. I don't think they were ever gonna let him win his first match, even if it was against CM Punk or Sheamus. I don't think they would have let him win that first match. But he had to do the honors here, and obviously it halted some of his momentum in some ways. I'm not gonna say entirely because that's goofy. It's Brock Lesnar. But I feel like Brock Lesnar isn't as Brock Lesnar as he usually is in 2012. Like Brock Lesnar, you guys know about, he's not really shown here a lot. You don't really see him to his full potential here. John Cena after the match cut a promo about how he's going away or something, and it's widely rumored that he was supposed to sell an injury from this match or the beating as a whole and go on a stretcher, but he just didn't do that. It was like John Cena was going away only for him to return the next night like nothing happened. He just had a sling.
They just retcon all this bullshit at the end of this match. That's what I hated about this. See, this was the highest of the highs, and then we went to straight, bruh. John Cena winning the Money in the Bank, winning the Money in the Bank ladder match, just to be the first one to lose, to be the first unsuccessful cash in WWE history. It was just shit show after shit show after shit show. Big Show turning heel and face. Big Show turning heel and face throughout the whole fucking summer was ridiculous. It got super fucking annoying. Like, Jesus Christ. Bruh, it was just too much. It was just too much lows. Shit didn't really pick back up. I'm gonna say shit really didn't pick back up until the Shield came in. Once Ryback started to come up and the Shield came in, that's when I feel like WWE started to change for the better around this time.
And it's like, oh, it's on to the next one. So that's Extreme Rules. Extreme Rules is a show that I feel like a lot of people should watch. It's one of those events where it's like it grabs your attention from the very beginning and squeezes your throat to watch. It's like, damn it, watch this show. Because of that, this is among the best WWE pay-per-views of the 10s. For 2012, it might be the best, although you could give a claim to TLC itself. But from the early 10s, this is definitely top 5, no doubt about it, because it was a show packed with good matches. And yes, I do think CM Punk and Jericho could have been a bit better, but other than that, we had Bryan and Sheamus, and of course the main event, which were two of WWE's best matches the entire year, so you can't go wrong with watching. It's an easy watch, and it's a fun watch as well, which is everything we want in wrestling. The match of the night is clearly, I don't even need to say it, it is clearly John Cena and Brock Lesnar. However, I will add that Sheamus and Daniel Bryan was a wonderful one, and I think if it happened on any other night during this year, I would have that as my match of the night. So yeah. Alright, what do you guys think of Extreme Rules 2012? Please comment down.
This was a good ass pay-per-view. Like I said, man, they just went downhill for the remainder of the summer, bro. Once we got to kick it into the summer, it just went downhill. Like I said, shit did pick back up into the Shield, came to the WWE, and then that's when everything changed. But I digress. But anyway, so that's just gonna about do it for this one. I will see you on the next video. Till then, deuces.